Well, hello again. This is Mark Davis with Workflow Diagnostics, and this exciting shot that you're looking at right now is a flip chart from our quality clinic, our Lean Six Sigma foundational training that we do. Just wanted to explain real quickly this exercise because this gets a great response from people, and we do this pretty early on in the training so that our participants can get a flavor of what process improvement is all about, and just get them energized, get them up out of their chairs, moving around, and just kind of prove to them that process improvement is actually possible. Be amazed how many people come to training and they've developed some complacency or cynicism, perhaps even, or skepticism around whether things can get any better. And so we just want to show them right off the bat that you can, with just some teamwork and some brainstorming and some creative approaches, once you recognize some of the problems that your process has, you can actually address those and have a pretty remarkable difference. And that's really what we see with the results that this team had that did this particular exercise right here. Now, I call this the ping pong challenge, and it's very similar to other games that are out there. It's based on some of those games, the ballpoint challenge, and some other games like that. And the idea here is that the team is given a ball, and they pass that ball around, okay, through the team. Every time the ball makes a circuit through the team, they have made, I tell them, you've made another ball. The goal, of course, being to make as many as you can, because you've got a customer breathing down your neck, and your productivity demands are pretty high today. So the problem is that once you start out, you're given these rules that you have to find a way to implement. And the basic rules are this. First, the ball that you give them has to pass through every team member. That's the first thing. Second thing is that the pass has to have airtime. They can't just stand and hand the ball back and forth to one another, left to right, in assembly line fashion. It's just not that simple. So the third thing is that where the ball starts, it has to finish, and that completes one production cycle. So with those rules in mind, the teams generally start out in kind of a loose cluster of people, and I've done this with groups as small as, say, 5 or 6, to some as large as 15 or 16, which was kind of fun to see how they handled that. So in this group, they started out in that first round, as you can see. They thought they might get 2 circuits. They're not real sure what to expect. They actually got close to 5, and they were pretty adamant that we put 4 3/4. They had finished somehow 3/4 of a ping pong ball, and they thought that was going to be some good to the customer. So we put 4 3/4 up there. And then we talked about the delta column being, what are some things that you would want to change in this process? So automatically they thought, you know what, we need to stand closer. They were kind of far apart. So they stood closer, and they broke the team up. This was a larger group, but they broke up into 2 different groups, 2 circles, to handle the sheer size and how close they were going to get pressed together. So round 2, they expected they would get 8. They didn't do too well. They only had 3. So they changed. They came back together, and they created a pipeline, a group of people that were connected by a pipeline. So they tried this again, and in round 3, they thought they might get 12, and they actually exceeded that. They had 13. And so then we debriefed again. Okay, what are you going to do differently now? And they found out, you know what, this tossing of the ball to get back and forth from one another, it takes time, and it also creates a lot of drops. So let's actually put our hands together and create kind of a chute that the ball will get dropped through. Because when they think about it, they realize all the ball has to do is pass through our hands, and it doesn't have to get thrown back and forth. So let's shorten the distance, and let's create a less error-prone process with hands that are stacked, and we'll create a chute of hands, if you will. We also had some, I've got sitting up there. I'm not sure exactly what that meant from this group, if some of them were actually sitting down to catch the ball as it came to the bottom of the chute. That probably was what that was about. But they tried this, and man, look at the difference that they got. From 13 to 52, so 4 times as much productivity out of that final process. The main lesson, of course, being address the areas of defects or waste in your process. We had a lot of dropped balls along the way. Why are the balls getting dropped? Well, because we're tossing them. Well, why are you tossing them? Well, because we're standing too far apart. Well, okay, move closer together. What are some other reasons for drops? Well, the fact that they're throwing the ball to begin with is an issue. So eventually they got rid of that part of it. And so on we went. And you can see the results are pretty remarkable. Again, I recommend this kind of exercise early on in a training endeavor. Gets people energized, gets them believing in what they're doing, and that they can just see the numbers that illustrate the major improvements. And so it really gets people focused on what they're getting ready to learn. So again, there's the ping pong challenge. This is Mark Davis from Workflow Diagnostics. Hope this works well for you in your training endeavor.